Guys, we've got a super fun episode today, I believe. You guys are really going to enjoy and would really love your feedback in this. We're going to talk about our Mount Rushmore of running backs over at UT. Um, I don't know about you, Bob, but this right here is going to bring back a lot of memories for me.
Oh, absolutely, man. I tell you, I think we all, maybe we might have played some backyard football or whatever, and we all have a running back in our mind that, maybe we was pretending to be.
Hmm.
Running back just one of those positions that you kind of fall in love with whoever you might have first been a Vol fan or, you just have a lot of connection with these kind of guys. Seems like, they're usually a fan favorite kind of player. But a lot of guys to talk about, but only four could make our list, our prestigious list.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
but guys, remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell because without hitting the notification bell with the subscription, there's kind of it's worthless about doing both at the same
They
time.
just don't let you know.
Yeah,
You know,
they
they,
don't.
they really don't notify you. So,
Yeah. But firstly, we'll talk about some guys who, didn't make our list. They were older than us, quite a bit older than us. Really good running backs. You could question whether one or two of these probably might have should have been on a Mount Rushmore and would be on some of you guys' list. But we didn't see them play. So they was quite a bit before us. But, you had, you know, great Johnny Majors, Hank Larcella, uh,
back to single wing days there,
yeah,
both them guys.
Kurt Watson. Who else, Tim? Haskell Standback.
Early 70s, a heck of a back. Stanley Morgan, who, famous now for being the wide receiver of the Patriots, who,
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame caliber guy, 2,000 yards rushing at UT, 1,000 yards receiving.
Dang
Uh,
good. He's guys like that,
but we just didn't see him, so we can't really put him on our Mount Rushmore.
right. But I could definitely see a couple of those guys being on a.
Yeah, and if you want to make a case for him, feel free to in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear what you guys think is y'all's, you know, Mount Rushmore because that's to me it's interesting.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of guys who've suffered injuries, some that we're going to talk about today,
Yeah,
and some that we didn't,
right.
particularly like you get into the 70s. In the 80s, the surgery just wasn't going to bring you back. But
Right.
all right, guys, we're going to jump into our Mount Rushmore, and then afterwards we're going to mention a lot of guys who either are close to the Mount Rushmore or just had really outstanding careers that, quite honestly, they deserve a mention. They gave it their all for UT.
Yeah.
But this is no particular order, other than I think most people is going to argue one of these next two guys as the top of Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Which one's George Washington? Which one's Abraham Lincoln? I don't know. But let's start off with Mr. Chuck Webb.
Yeah. He was probably a favorite of mine. He's because the guy was about the time I was growing up, watching a lot of UT football and stuff. I'll always remember that Cotton Bowl against Arkansas.
250 yards
I mean,
of
he,
dominance.
yeah, he just wore it out, man. He was so fun to watch. He's a guy who, if it wasn't for, injury, like you said before, it's back when a knee injury, pretty well, you was done, pretty much. I would have loved to seen what he could have done had it not been for the injury at UT and on. He would have been an NFL star. He was a guy who Tim ran very low to the ground. Kind of remind me of the way Emmett Smith run. Very
As
low.
far as the lowness, not just
Yeah,
barrel people over.
right. But Emmett. They both run really low, and uh, and not to be a big guy. He was hard to bring down, and you give him a crease, and he was gone.
Well, he was a track star in high school coming out of Ohio, and he showed on the field. It wasn't just track speed. He would cut back across the grain and just leave you in the weight, man. He could turn on the burners and he was gone. What I always loved about him was being a young guy. He followed his blocking so well. You
Hmm.
give him a little pitch out. He was patient. He had that natural ability to run.
Yeah,
Some people got it, some people don't. He had it in spades.
yeah,
Chuck Webb, to me, I'm not going to say, I don't know if I can pick between him and our next guy. But Chuck Webb was special. If he'd been an SEC legend without a doubt, without a knee injury.
Yeah, I agree. The next guy, uh, you know, you go to a physical freak type guy. Our version, I guess, of closest thing we've probably had to a Bo Jackson type guy. Jamal Lewis. I mean, just a big ball of muscle, fast, quick feet.
Yeah, you never expect a man that large to be that fast
Yeah,
because he could turn on and on too, and you ain't going to catch him.
no,
And you sure don't want to get him head on with him because he didn't bounce off of you. You bounced off of him, and he was a physical freak.
yeah, he's another guy though. The ACL. I mean, it was a little later than Chuck. They was doing better with
They
the
were doing better.
ACLs when he come around. But his senior year, there was a lot of
Junior year.
junior year, yeah, junior year. He had a lot of controversy about whether or not he mailed it in, or it could have been that, and it could have been the whole, the mental aspect. Because seemed like a lot of backs back then.
Or even today.
Yeah, even today. I mean, you have an
The knee,
ACL.
yeah, the knee is okay.
Yeah,
The mind isn't.
it's a mind thing. I mean, you just worry about getting another injury on that same knee. I mean, I don't see how they do it, man. Because when I watch a new guy after him getting hurt like that, I'm sitting there watching every tackle, thinking, "Oh, did they get his knee? Did they get his knee?" You know what I mean?
And you twist it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a natural thing. I could definitely see how you would be protective, but
Well, he showed up on campus though, Bob. You know, when he was healthy. He
yeah,
showed up on campus looking like a 30-year-old NFL vet,
I know, man.
and we give Johnny, or not Johnny, but Phil hell for starting Martin Levine over him because of pass protection issues.
Hmm.
But I got good pass protection is ability to hand it off to a bull who everybody is going to be trying to stop instead of slowing down the pass rush.
Yeah, I think having him in the game would have slowed the pass rush quite a bit down. I mean, because you need all hands on deck to
God,
bring that
yeah,
dude down.
yeah, you didn't want to, and look, as much hell as uh, Phil got for benching him first couple of 3 games of his career,
Hmm.
you know, we go back to Johnny. Back, he was in that old school where if he was for years freshman just automatic, it was just the way it was. They did have to
Hmm.
redshirt. It wasn't a question. You had to redshirt them, and even after they pulled the red shirts off, he was still slow about playing people. Case in point, he redshirted Chuck Webb. He redshirted Carl Pickens at the same time. The guys who might arguably be the top players at their position in UT history.
I mean,
And
yeah, super athlete. I mean, just to think that they redshirted Carl Pickens, which was our best DB and wide receiver at the time he was here. I mean, pretty good athlete. Pretty good athlete,
yeah.
you know?
So I mean, there's a coaches can be overly cautious,
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah.
Um, but yes, Chuck Webb, Jamal Lewis, 2 guys who honestly had not tore his knees up, their knees up. In my book, maybe I'm a homer, whatever. But people talk about Bo, they talk about Herschel. They'd be talking about those 2 guys if they'd been healthy.
Yeah, I believe so. We had some
We'd
great.
be in that. They'd be in that conversation.
Next guy on our list is Charlie Garner. I mean, the guy was just special. First of all, just look at his yards per carry. And this was a time when teams focused on him. I mean, Chuck Webb averaged 5.8, Jamal 5.4 yards per carry. Uh, Charlie was like 6.7. I mean, and could catch the ball out of the backfield. He would be something else in today's game. Uh, and very similar to an Alvin Kamara. I mean, Garner was something else.
Well, he was. I mean, we could show you highlights of his NFL playing days forever because he played. He was an all star in the NFL. But
Hmm.
at UT, you stop and think about this. He was so good that he looked at UT, who had 2 freshmen who looked like the stars.
Yeah, Aaron
Guys
Day.
went on to play
Yeah.
ball, and our hometown guy James Stewart. We'll
Yeah.
get into him a little bit
Hmm.
later. But they were cemented in that role. But he was a JUCO and said, "Boys, hold my beer because I'm playing and you're sitting."
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Heck of a player, man.
yeah, some of his runs were just things of beauty.
Yeah.
His quickness. Um, I'm not going to say he's Barry Sanders because I think Barry stands alone when it comes to quickness.
Yeah.
But Charlie Garner
He's up
is
there,
that
man.
next level down.
Yeah. I mean, that dude could stop on a dime and put a foot down and turn. I mean, he was something to watch, man. It was. I love watching Charlie Garner. The next guy on the list,
The opposite of Charlie
yeah,
Garner.
totally opposite, man. Um, and I think as soon as we say this right here about him, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is he was a bowling ball, man.
Yeah, cheese,
Travis,
man.
Travis Henry. I mean, uh, that guy squatted down low, hard to bring him down, and big old thighs of his.
Only thing brought him down with child support payments.
I think he had like 9 kids by like 9 different
Yeah,
women or
I'm
something like that.
still waiting for the next legacy here to come through UT.
Yeah, I think he was playing like the last of his NFL career was.
Just for child support.
Yeah, I think he was like living in a van,
Yeah, I mean,
broke playing in NFL. But yeah, I mean, heck of a running back though. I mean, um, all-time leading rusher at UT.
yeah, over 3,000 yards, 5.5 a pop, and
Mhm.
everybody knew he was getting it.
Yeah,
He, like you mentioned earlier, Bob, I remember certain running plays by certain running backs,
hmm
but for Travis Henry, everybody remembers a drive.
yeah. It was the after Starner fumble in the Arkansas game, and he just drove right down the field, right in the end zone. I mean, it was like it was almost like we was playing a middle school team there for that drive because I don't know if it's I think it's a combination of the offensive line just and being defeated on the other side, but we just ran right down. I mean, no problem, right down the field.
Yeah, it was like we're not going to do anything fancy. We're going to hand the ball to the cheese, and y'all are going to get
Yeah.
eat up, and that's what happened. I mean, but Travis, he had a heck of a season really for that year
Mhm.
because he come in for Jamal. I mean,
Yeah.
Jamal was the man. Travis and Travis Stevens too. The Travis
That
is
was, yeah.
great, but to be honest about it, everybody knew Travis Henry was getting the ball
Mhm.
because T was inconsistent at best.
Yeah.
Um, he was he get us in some trouble, but Travis would keep getting us out of it, and
Yeah.
eventually everybody would pull up to try to stop Henry's bowling ball there, and then right over the top to Peerless for a 80-yard touchdown, and that's a pretty good championship recipe.
Yeah. Um, so that's our top four. Let's talk about some of the guys, Tim, that didn't make the list.
Yeah.
Some maybe some childhood favorites, and some guys who deservingly that was close to being on this list. Because I tell you what, when you're doing a list like this, it's difficult to
I cut some
pick a
people off.
top four. I mean, you're like, oh man, this guy was great. This guy was great.
Well, some people's numbers deserve to be up there,
Right.
but I wouldn't put them up there, and I wouldn't put them ahead of some other guys. Probably numbers below. A guy whose numbers deserve to be there, Arian Foster.
Yeah. And he had one heck of a NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Battled nagging injuries at UT. I don't think he's ever went through a spring that he was healthy. Had some hamstring issues. His yard per carry was about a yard less than a lot of these guys, but
Yeah.
he also had about 800 yards receiving, which was like 3 times as much as most of these other guys. He's more total all-purpose yards than any of these other guys.
yeah, he was a heck of a running back. I think too, if I remember correctly, my memory's horrible. I won't say he had some fumble issues, untimely fumbles too. Seemed like, um, but yeah, Foster, heck of a running back. He didn't really have much at that time, other than him. Uh,
Well, that's the one our downward slide began.
yeah,
We can start seeing it. Um, Another guy that I put in real close to coming in this list, Bob, was Johnny Jones. I'm not Johnny Jones. I'm sorry. Johnny was great, but I was
yeah,
thinking about Reggie Cobb,
yeah.
Knoxville legend.
Oh yeah, it's a tough combination. You had that cobweb offense. He was dang good, Cobb was. I mean, we thought we had something special with him, and then you got Webb. I mean, tough combo right there, man.
Well, he had, like 20 touchdowns as a freshman, his own self.
Yeah.
You know, uh, Big, powerful guy. Another guy could take it the length of the field in a
Hmm.
in a flash. Um, Really, that cobweb offense was great. And then later you had, Lewis and Henry, and then you had, like I mentioned earlier, was Hayden and Stewart and Garner all at one time for a decade or better. Tennessee was running back you for the '90s
Yeah, we
and
was
early
we was
2000s.
pretty dang good. I'll tell you another back who some of the younger guys would love. Very underutilized at Tennessee. Later on, NFL showed what he could do. Really was Alvin Kamara. I mean, had a very good average, 6.2 yards a carry here. Um, you know, I, we just didn't use him. I mean, Butch.
I
You know,
think you said it enough right there, Bob Butch. Alvin Kamara was a star. I
yeah,
mean, we saw it all in the NFL, and you saw look what he did against A&M. He had just an unbelievable. They couldn't stop him.
yeah,
And the only reason he had those many opportunities was cause Hurd missed the game, and Butch had to play him.
right.
You know, his hands were tied, and he pulled off
Hmm.
200 yards because Butch finally took the handcuffs off of him.
Yeah,
Um, and you know what? Hurd, if if he'd played under a different coach other than Butch, I mean, you got a guy that large, and his first uh, motion is never toward the line of scrimmage. It's
yeah,
because Butch always thought it was a good idea. Hey, we're going to run you sideways along the line of scrimmage so you can't get no momentum up,
yeah,
because you're such a small feller, I mean,
yeah,
oh, damn it, Butch.
right.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, Kamara, he was a guy I'd love to see in this offense we currently have. I think he'd be really fun to watch. His speed and quickness. Uh, not a guy who he's a guy who you want in space, which is what this offense does great. But yeah, he was a big time one.
Another guy that would have been great in this offense if he had played running back, and that was Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, man, that
He
guy.
should have been a running back as he finally made it in the NFL after a decade.
Yeah, several years in the NFL, he finally decided to play him at running back. You know, that guy, one of the best athletes ever to play at UT.
I think you didn't have to put UT in there.
Yeah, he's a great athlete, man, and different. So much different from your typical running back. Even in the NFL game, just built differently. But you know, he showed NFL that he was a very good running back.
Oh yeah. Some other guys, Bob, real quick. James Stewart, we mentioned him a
Hmm.
moment ago. Little man Stewart. Um,
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
the
knows for the end zone.
oh yeah, great hometown guy. Probably highlight of my football career was probably getting run over by little man Stewart. Just
Well, my highlight was intercepting Randy Sanders
that's a
one
pretty
time.
good highlight.
Well, it wasn't real good. It was in middle school. I mean, come on.
Well,
And then
still,
and then you go. Guess what? I got tackled by another DB because we had the same. We was all in kind of similar jerseys.
yeah.
And I start turning upfield, and one of
Uh,
the other defenders tackled me, and I'm like, what the?
yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah,
uh, uh, God, okay, Jay Graham. I had to get back to some more guys that just pop out at me.
yeah.
Jay Graham,
Jay Graham was a good one.
Concord, North Carolina,
Yeah.
another big guy, track star though. Um, didn't have a lot of wiggle as much as these other guys.
Hmm.
Or didn't have their natural running instincts, in my opinion, that some of these other guys had. But
Um,
another physical freak.
I tell you another guy who they really loved down there as a freshman, but he had a lot of injury issues. But I reckon they thought if it wasn't for the injuries, Monterio Hardesty would have been very good and would have been super high on the list. You got some other guys that's, Tony Thompson had a heck of a year.
When he took over Tuck, yeah.
Yeah. You got on the team now Dylan Sampson. I mean, he's averaging 6.1 yards a carry.
for his career. Yeah.
Could possibly, if he stays 2 more years, which is possible because of
His size, I can't see the NFL coming to get
yeah,
him out of early.
could end up being on all-time leading rusher. I mean, uh, we'll see what he does. Good back, obviously. And then you had some guys that was in the '80s that that was some spatial guys there. That was a different type. A couple of them was different kind of guys, just big old dudes.
Yeah, like Sam Henderson. Sam, it was about 250 pounds. You had him. You had William Hurd, who I think he may still even hold the NCAA record for most consecutive carries. Johnny gave it to him like 25, 30 times one game. Straight plays, consecutive plays. It was like,
That's
stop
crazy.
them if you can. And guess what? They couldn't. He might not have averaged 4 yards a pop during that drive, but
You
it
get
was
first down.
first down, second down, third down, first down.
Yeah.
And it was, you just couldn't. Uh, and we had some real other good ones in that time frame. Chuck Coleman, Randall Morris went up to
Hmm.
Seattle Seahawks for a little while. Um, Keith Davis, who there's a guy who another as a young guy out of Nashville had the looks of a special guy. Knee, the knee though.
Yeah.
Of course, the one that everybody's fan favorite, Johnny Jones,
Hmm.
2,800 yards rushing for UT.
Hmm.
Had some of the most memorable plays against Alabama to snap that the long losing streak
Hmm.
to the vile Crimson Tide.
Wow. Yes.
Um,
I'm gonna,
so many
I'm gonna,
guys to
yeah,
just
I'm
talk
gonna
about.
list a couple more guys. These are what if kind of guys too. Uh, One, Ontario Smith. Um, you know, he went on to Oregon after he got kicked off the team here for drugs.
He loved the thing most famous now for being a proud owner of a Wizinator. You remember that story, Bob?
I don't. I don't.
You know what the Wizinator is?
No, I do not.
Okay, I'm gonna keep this PG, but he had it in his suitcase or whatever going through airport security when they found it. And to pass drug test, you had urine and everything.
Oh,
But it actually, they one time made a fake member, male member, that if you
I
were being
remember right now.
watched,
I remember right now.
it would actually look close enough. I don't think that somebody, did close inspection, they have but
Right, really.
yeah, so you actually kind of attached it and you urinated out of it and to pass the drug test.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other guy I was thinking of, who's a great athlete. You hear a lot of people down there during that time was talking about how great he was, but he just wasn't. He just didn't have his head on straight. It was Travis Kozart. Uh,
High school legend.
yeah,
High school legend out of Lenore City.
just a great athlete, and I think he would have been a legend here had he just, had his head on straight.
Very possible. And while we're talking about the people in this vein here, so to speak, the guy who speed still wows some of the younger crowd particularly uh, Lamarcus Coker,
Oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah, he was a blazer, man,
Blazer.
blazer.
Yeah.
I could see him being recruited by Heupel. I mean, he was a guy who's,
How about low
you know,
speed?
yeah, he loves speed.
You know what though? Of all these guys we talk about being good in this offense, you know who I think would be great in this offense?
Who's that?
And one of our Mount Rushmore guys, and that was Jamal Lewis. Because we love to, he likes being physical in the
Hmm.
running game.
Yeah,
And, it's spread out, it spreads you out, but there is no way Georgia or nobody else was going to stop with a light box. You ain't putting 5 or 6 in a box and stopping Jamal Lewis.
that's true. You ain't arm tackling.
You are not
Yeah,
doing that, and
yeah,
I promise you,
that's a good
they would
point.
have had small light boxes or light on the edges, and we'd pass the ball deep on them.
That's true. That's a good point. I had never thought about Lewis being a good fit in this offense, but when you get great backs, I get
They fit anything. Yeah, they fit anything.
fit any
But I
offense.
really
Yeah,
think though that would no one would be able to run a light box
that's true. Yeah.
against Tennessee with Jamal Lewis in the
Yeah.
backfield.
But guys, that's the end of the episode. Uh, I'd love to hear your comments. Some of these guys, maybe some memories about some of these guys. Who would be your top four? Because honestly, it's a hard list. All these lists are going to be hard to do, really. Um, yeah, leave a comment and remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And main thing is go Vols.
Go big orange, guys. See you next time.